Hello and welcome to the Nordic Wolf podcast, episode 1. Thank you for joining me in this journey. If you follow me on Substack, this is going to be a little bit more of an open forum. While it still will be focused on a lot of Timberwolves and Vikings coverage, also be a broader view of the NFL, NBA, and just Minnesota sports in general, including sports betting. As we get into playoff hockey, I might bring on some people that know a little bit more about hockey, but today, we're going to be diving into basketball. First, my first ask, if you have subscribed to my Substack, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is the Nordic Wolf. And then being that this is 100% a passion project for me, when I get more subscriptions, it just motivates me to continue to do this. And then secondly, if you live in Minnesota, you want to bet on sports, I trust and use Better Edge. This is spelled Bettor edge.com. It's a peer-to-peer betting site where you are betting against actual people and not the house. Removing the VIG allows you to get better odds and maximize your payouts. With promo code Nordic Wolf, you can receive $20 off in credits after your first deposit. I have linked that promo code to the show notes. Now, let's jump into the show. I got David Christensen here with me, a good friend, probably my most knowledgeable NBA friend here. David, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you doing, Eric? I'm really happy you're kicking off this podcast. You're doing a great job so far. So I would definitely say that I'm the biggest Wolves fan that you know. I would say my first memory as a child with the Timberwolves would be Kevin Garnett era. We beat Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls at home. Steph Marbury was on the team. So that's really where the Wolves came into my life, and I became a huge fan right when I was a kid. Been a fan ever since 2015. I got season tickets. Wiggins and Levine rookie year. And yeah, been a lot of brutal years since Kevin Garnett left, but the last 5 or so have been really fun. And, you know, obviously the regular season has been frustrating the last couple seasons. We do know that the Timberwolves have a chance to really go deep into the playoffs. Super talented, and we'll see how it goes. But thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, mainly what we're going to focus today, I feel like, is Nuggets Wolves round 3. You know, I did just see before we had some injury reports. But before we jump into that, you know, the fact that we got Wolves versus Nuggets still upsets me because of how fucking stupid the San Antonio Spurs. They don't understand probability, because to me the Spurs' best chance, and I know I'm bitter as a Timberwolves fan because we could have gotten the Lakers, who are basically dead on arrival, but the Spurs' best chance of making it to the NBA Finals is to have as few tough matchups, just like anyone. Like, you want to have as few 50-50 matchups. And not only did they have a chance, I mean, they have a problem, obviously. Jokic dominated Wemby in their last matchup. Wemby's defense cannot stop Jokic. So why in the world would you want them on the same side of the bracket as you? It makes no sense, no statistical sense to me. And now it's created this mess for us where we have to go through a theoretical run to the NBA Finals would be the Denver Nuggets, San Antonio Spurs, Oklahoma City Thunder, and then, I mean, Boston, or I think Boston's pretty clearly the best team in the East.
Maybe Detroit, but
Detroit, to me, we'll get into it. They feel like
or Knicks, but yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think Detroit feels like that team that plays really hard in the regular season and then gets their ass kicked, and they don't have enough shooting to me to beat Boston or the Knicks. But basically, the Nuggets now have to go through Wolves, who they would probably say is their second toughest matchup to the Thunder. Spurs have to go through the Nuggets, or everyone's predicting the Nuggets, but even the Wolves are, I think, a trickier matchup. I mean, I thought in our games, Julius Randle showed a decent way of guarding Wemby, and it frustrated him. And then they, but either way, if they have to go through the Nuggets, I think the Nuggets will beat the Spurs personally. I mean, from what we've seen so far, obviously, who stays healthy, that can change anything. The only one that benefits from this is Oklahoma City. Their odds drastically increased the moment that the Nuggets beat the Spurs last Sunday. So obviously people that are, setting the lines think the Spurs are an idiot, and I don't get it.
Well, number one, they made their path a lot tougher because, as you mentioned, their number one threat would be the Nuggets for sure. And as things stand, there's a very good chance they're going to meet the Nuggets in round 2. Secondly, they made OKC's path a lot easier to get there because they didn't push the Nuggets over to that side where OKC would have had to play the Nuggets the second round. So yeah, it was completely stupid. And they basically said that they were resting Wemby, but they're going to make Wemby's life so much harder in the playoffs with the path he needs to go through. So that doesn't even make sense. They should have played Wemby that game. They should have went full force. De'Aaron Fox was terrible, obviously.
Well, he's not that good in general. He's a terrible second option.
I used to like him too when he was on the Kings, but a lot less pressure on the Kings too. He could just be a ball dominant guy. With this team, they have all those different guards that he just doesn't. He doesn't really flow well, and they're probably going to look to trade him this offseason, I would think. But yeah, it was really stupid. Made OKC's path a lot easier. They made their lives a lot harder, and they screwed the Wolves, which this is a Wolves-centric podcast, so obviously we're pissed about that.
Yeah. But anyways, that's for now where I'm at with that. So now we don't have a choice. Unfortunately, the Wolves couldn't do much about it because, like you said, frustratingly dropped. I think I counted about 8 to 10 games where I was like, how the hell did we lose this game to this team? Yeah. So the frustration. And it's been like
that for years. It's been like that for years. They lose these games. It's been like that ever since we've had Ant. And it's just like, I wish they went in the mentality of these seasons to take it more serious, like an OKC, because it matters at the end of the day. Now we're in this spot where we have to beat the Nuggets. We have to beat the Spurs. We have to beat OKC. And that's just to get to the finals, where your treat is going to be like the Boston Celtics, which that's going to be really difficult. So the Wolves totally screw themselves by not putting their full effort in during the regular season. And I believe Ant said recently that he basically admitted that they don't put their full effort in. So this just proves that the regular season means so much and why the Spurs are absolute idiots to get to the last game and just fall apart there.
Yeah, well, and what's frustrating about that is, this preseason, they talked about how it's going to be full effort, full board, and then it's like I hear Dane Moore talking about how in December they're already talking about how they're ready for the playoffs, and it's just like, you guys, it's an 82-game season. You want to know the reason Oklahoma City kicked your ass last year? They played hard every single game. So they knew, when things get tough, they know how to, dig deep and know, okay, if we do these right things, we will be successful over the long term. The Wolves just kind of, I think they're moody. They get mad. If things aren't going their way, they just kind of punt it on to the next game, and you just can't do that. It felt like 2 years ago when we did beat Denver in the playoffs, that wasn't happening as much with that team. They have, and every team, I get it. I mean, if you follow which I do follow quite a few different Nuggets, Thunder, not much Spurs, but Nuggets, and I see Rockets and Lakers fans, pretty much all four of the Wolves, Nuggets, Rockets, and Lakers, at some point their fan base has said, our team's terrible and we need to reset.
It looked like that way with the Lakers for sure for a long time outside of March, and then they have these unfortunate injuries that occur, but
yeah,
right. Every single fan base totally quit on their team. Rockets, the Spurs didn't though at any point. I think they just had an excellent year.
Yeah,
they're so young.
And Wemby presents just this absolute unicorn of a basketball player that most teams just don't have an answer for. And I actually think that's why they're the best chance to beat the Thunder because of that. Shea can't get to his elbow spot because Wemby basically standing at the dunker spot can cover the whole paint. And so it frustrates. So, and like I said, that's where the Spurs losing that game gives Oklahoma City the opportunity to let Jokic handle that problem. I think they feel very comfortable in a series with Denver, the Thunder do, but we can get kind of towards that later. Let's just start with in general. So I did just see injury report for game 1. Ant is questionable with his knee maintenance. I fully expect him to play. My more worry seeing that is is this going to be a game-to-game thing, or is it just, it worries me a little bit. The
way I look at it is he could have a tweak of the knee in the second quarter of game 1.
Yeah.
And I hate to be a downer about it, but I think they said Steph Curry had the same injury.
Yeah.
He was saying that basically he would have good days and he'd have bad days. Mm-hmm. So the thing with Ant is he's a quick healer, as we've seen, and during the regular season for the past several years, he'll look like he has these massive injuries,
Yep.
as you've seen a million times, and people have to come out and help him, and then he's out there the next quarter or whatever it is. But I do think this is a different situation where he could have a tweak of the knee, and he's probably going to be out at least a game, probably the rest of that game. And he's a tough guy, but he might be out the next game. And then at that point, we're totally cooked.
Yeah, I mean,
Even if he misses 3 quarters of a game, I guess they're not totally cooked at that point, but that's a huge loss because you can't give up even a quarter to this Nuggets team because the teams are so, I would say they're so close from a competitive perspective.
yeah.
But, and if he misses the following game, it's over with.
Yeah, I mean, it's if we can't afford in this series to lose him for a full game. I mean, I think so. Just, I mean, to judge back and I think a lot of people that maybe kind of check in mostly in playoff basketball, which is a good portion of people, might kind of look back to that series 2 years ago and feel really good about this matchup. And again, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but the reality of those two teams are the Wolves aren't as good as they were 2 years ago, I don't think. And the Nuggets are much better than they were 2 years ago, I believe. Now, the Wolves are closer to what they were than 2 years ago, but the Nuggets, their bench is much deeper, and their starting lineup is probably a little actually less, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But Aaron Gordon has become a much better player and much more complete player.
Can hit threes now.
I think for Denver, Aaron Gordon staying healthy is a huge factor for them. But the good news the Wolves got is Peyton Watson is out game one. I don't know. I was listening to Dane Moore with who he had from Denver, and Watson's not expected to play. If Watson doesn't play in this series, that is a huge swing for the Wolves, as Peyton Watson is, in my mind, their best key to guarding Ant. I think, and he's their best off the bench player, and he's their best weapon in the non-Jokic minutes. He really kept them afloat when Jokic was out for most of January with his knee injury. Everybody thought the Nuggets were going to fall to play-in status potentially. Most people looked at the schedule and said they're going to win 3 games, and I think they won like 60% of those games without Jokic and without Jonas Valanciunas, but Valanciunas has been mostly terrible, so that might have actually been a good thing.
Yeah, he's been very disappointing.
So, I mean, from the Nuggets, we can start, just looking. So obviously, they have their offensive rating, 121.1, best offense in the league. For the Wolves to win, I pretty much think can't be a shootout. We're not going to win a shootout. Their defensive rating, though, 116 is 21st in the league. So, ideally,
I was surprised to see it was that low, actually. I knew it would be obviously lower than the Wolves, who are at, 8? But I didn't think it would be that low.
Wolves are defensive rating 6th at a 113.2, offensive rating 116.8, which is 15th. That's the stats I'm using do not count garbage times, which is...
I did adjusted net rating on Basketball Reference to get these.
Yep.
They may have different.
But
regardless of the fact, Denver is by far and away the best offense in the league, I would say. I don't even know who would rival them. Boston, maybe. Maybe Spurs, OKC. I don't know.
Yeah. So, what I'm thinking, Denver's strategy, obviously, on offense is going to be their standard 2-man game, Jokic and Murray. That pretty much is what drives their offense all season. Jamal Murray's is having his best season by far. He's averaging like 4 more points a game than he was in years prior. Again, Wolves fans that maybe didn't keep up to date with the regular season and remember that series 2 years ago, Jamal Murray was terrible. The Wolves shut him down.
And he threw a heat pack on the court and almost made a player slip and whatever. But
so
he's a bit of a baby, and I think they need to get in his head or try their best to get in his head. Yeah.
2 years ago, Ant did most of the coverage on Jamal Murray. I don't really know how we're going to defensively. Again, it's really hard when you're facing Jokic to predict how we're going to go about him defensively, because I do think with Jokic, you have to throw stuff at him that he's got to solve. He's going to solve anything we throw at him. It might take him a game or two, but you can't have the same strategy on him. He's the smartest basketball player in the NBA, and he'll pick you apart if you just try the same thing over and over again.
Led the league in assists and rebounds.
But They want to, their ideal world is the offense runs through Jokic. He's basically their point center, but everything, he wants to break the defense down and then find open guys.
Kick it out to the plethora of 3-point shooters they have.
Um,
Here's the thing. I want to run this past you. I think I would rather have him score 44 points 44 points and 4 or 5 assists or 6 than 28 or 30 points and 12 or 13 assists. I would take 100%. That any day. Yeah.
In the games that the Wolves beat them last year, and the overtime game this year that they did lose to on Christmas Day, if Jokic is getting 10-ish assists and 50 points, you live with that, which sounds weird. But, the biggest thing is if he's getting his assists, they're usually open catch and shoot threes that, and they have guys that can make those, whether it's Tim Hardaway, Peyton Watson was that. He was a big corner 3 guy. So
Tim Hardaway's been a big thorn in the Wolves' side this year.
He's been a big thorn in the Wolves' side no matter where he's been. So I think, I don't know who you use to cover Jokic. I know Rudy's the obvious one that people go to, but
they'll start
Jokic
there.
Mostly cooks Rudy, and he gets into foul trouble. I don't mind trying Julius if he's dialed in.
Give some girth in there.
Yeah, Julius, when he tries on defense, can be actually pretty effective. But, I think his effort on defense is lacking in a lot of ways. Same with Ant. I think they both can be the laziest on defense. And, if they come in playing that defensively, we're not going to win in 7 games.
Well, they're not going to. They're going to play very hard at first. My worry is if they lose a game or two, are they just going to completely give up at that point? And they might, but I think they're going to put in their full effort at first. Julius absolutely loves Finch, and I think he's going to put his full effort in there. Ant, we already know Ant. Playoff Ant is different. He's going to put his full effort out there. My only worry is, like you said, they get moody. So we'll see how long it lasts before they get moody if things don't go their way. And hopefully Scott Foster is never a ref.
Yeah, I do hate that we have to get to the point where I'm checking referee assignments the morning of every game. But, for me, when we go into the Wolves, what they need, obviously, offensively, they can't have games where our, core Dante, Jaden, Nas, those guys have nights where they shoot 0 for 18 from 3 combined. So we need big offensive performances. You just can't. Denver's defense isn't good enough to really shut you down like that. So if you're just clanking open threes, they got to shoot, I think, dang near 40% from 3 to keep up with Denver.
What Dante are we going to get? Are we going to get the Dante who really struggled last playoffs with threes? Or are we going to get the one?
Correct. The one that the Knicks had 2 years ago in the playoffs.
Yeah, so which Dante are we going to get? I have a feeling we're going to get a good Dante this time. But
yeah, well, to me, this is a matchup where Dante, all of our role players offensively should thrive. There's going to be open opportunities. It sounds like pretty much every report is that Denver's going to try and rush Ant. So can Rudy catch open passes and dunk it? It's that simple.
Or kick it out. He got better at kicking it out to open.
Yeah, so that's, I think, again, you got to win. And then the non-Jokic minutes, you have to win it and win them significantly. You can't have, +2 in non-Jokic minutes in a game. You're pretty much dead on arrival at that point because you are almost every team that plays the Nuggets, when Jokic is in, you are almost always negative on the point, outside of maybe Oklahoma City.
Jamal, too. Are they going to put Jaden on him when we know that Jaden struggles to stay in front off screens? And when he's behind someone, he's probably going to follow Jamal as he's going to the hole. And that's what Na was so good at. He was so good at getting past those screens and staying in front of Jamal. And Ant can do some of that too, but Ant obviously can't cover Jamal the whole game. He can only do the fourth quarter because he's putting up so much effort on the offensive end. So I'm going to be curious to see how they cover him. Are they going to put Io on him? Maybe.
I think you mix in, like you say,
Dante, a little bit of Dante, mix and match. I don't know.
I like Jaden's obviously a good defender, and I think in certain situations, I do trust him. But like you say, if and Jamal is not, Jaden's more struggles don't come against Jamal as much as they come as guys like Tyrese Maxey, who just are burners and they just get by. I think Jaden would actually struggle covering Io because that's what Io does too. anyone with speed that likes to get into transition and make you work. I just think that, and again, I think the bench units, Io and Bone specifically, they need to get the transition moving. I mean, in general, we should try and get moving as much as possible because Denver is not a good transition defense.
Nope, get out in transition, and Io's going to be key into that, and Nas.
Do you think
Nas has a
Io could end
shoulder
up?
injury. That's why he's been shooting so. Go
Do
ahead.
you think Io could end up starting any games over Dante?
Yeah, I mean Dante's going to be bitter about it, but at the same time, and that's another thing. Finch doesn't. He shouldn't be worrying about hurting feelings. He just needs to make quick changes in a short order for each individual game. If someone's hot, have him keep him out there. If someone's not hot, bring someone else in real quick. The Wolves are pretty deep. I know you said a couple years ago you think that was the best Wolves team. Honestly, when I look at this roster, I think this is the best Wolves team. They just didn't show it in the regular season. Personally, that's what I think. I understand where you're coming
I
from.
guess I should maybe be a little more clear. This was the best Wolves team to beat Denver because Cat could cover Jokic.
Oh yeah, sure. Kyle Anderson can be used on Jokic a little bit. He actually has done well against the Joker. Now he's obviously a lot shorter, but he's really good at getting steals.
But Caruso proved it you don't need to be that tall to cover it. But I also think Jokic has done a good job this year of kind of figuring that coverage out, and I don't think that coverage will work on him as well as it did last year because again he's just so smart. So let's just start with tomorrow. Where do you think we can steal tomorrow?
Absolutely, I think we can steal it tomorrow. Again, it's gonna with Ant playing how many minutes? 72 minutes or something last month. I'm gonna be interested to see if he comes out there and he's not super cold. I'm gonna be interested to see. I mean, really, it's all gonna come down to how we're gonna stop that 1-2 game of Jamal and the Joker. It's all gonna come down to that. If Denver's hitting all their shots or hitting all their threes, because we're gonna have to live with that at the end of the day. To stop Jamal and to stop the Joker, they're going to be kicking it out for open threes. So if Denver's hitting a ton of threes, I feel like it's going to be a real uphill battle. But they don't have Peyton Watson, who's a great three-point shooter. From the Wolves' perspective, hey, if they're hitting their shots, I think we have a real chance. They're not afraid to play on the road. Sometimes I think they play better on the road, to be honest with you, as we've seen in the past. I think Ant really loves playing in Denver as well, as he's yelled at that fan at that Game 7 at the end. But no, I just think it's going to come down to how our offense is going to operate, how the superstar Ant is going to operate, how he's going to be feeling. We haven't seen a lot of him the last month, and we'll see how it goes. I think tomorrow is a real 50-50 game from my perspective.
Yeah, the series is really tough overall. Obviously, I was talking to my dad earlier, and he was asking my prediction, what I was going to make tonight, and I'm like, I still don't know. I go back and forth. I think if you're going to steal a game in Denver, obviously Game 1 is always your best chance to steal a game. I don't think we win both games in Denver this year. I just don't see that happening. Obviously,
there's a higher chance for Denver to win both, and I know that sounds dumb because they're at home.
Yeah, well, they're at home.
I'm just saying, yeah, but still, I could see Denver potentially doing it, but yeah, no chance the Wolves. I think best case we come out 1-1.
So yeah, I would say I think the Wolves have a decent chance if Ant is truly healthy. Obviously, if he goes out and his knee, he gives it a go and he can't play the second half, that just takes away our offense. And I can't see us hanging with Denver, especially in a playoff environment. I've always said I actually don't hate. The only thing I hate about being the road team for the playoffs is not having Game 7 on your home court. I like having Game 1 and 2 on the road because I think it puts all that pressure for Denver to win both those games. Otherwise, the series all of a sudden is all in the Wolves' court. They're feeling a lot better about themselves because they've taken home court advantage. And I think I'm going to go with the Wolves to win tomorrow. In terms of a series, where are you at?
I have the Wolves, but I originally had Denver in 7, and then I went to potentially Denver in 6. Then I went back to Denver in 7. Now I'm at Wolves in 7. I flipped the script on it. So 10 ESPN experts all picked Denver to win. I think it was 10, and they did that last year with the Lakers, and no one's picking the Wolves. A lot of it's because the Nuggets have played so well this year, and they deserve it, and they won the last 12. How much do those last 12 games really matter at the end of an NBA season? Maybe not a ton, but still, it's impressive. But yeah, overall, I got the Wolves winning in 7. What about you?
So where I've gone, and this is kind of where I figured I would end up being, is if I use my brain on this and just think with logic, Denver has been the better team all year. They've dealt with injuries. They're a better team than they were last year. They're a better team than they were 2 years ago. But I've just seen 2 years of evidence from the Wolves that when playoffs come, they do have this gear that they're able to somehow dive into and, win these games and win these series that everybody picks against them. The only difference I have in you, I think if it goes to a game 7, I just don't see us beating Denver again in a game 7 on their home court. So I will take Wolves in 6, and I'm sure in 2 weeks I'll probably regret that pick, but at this point, I just think I'm going to believe that the Wolves can strike oil again. I don't think they're going to win the championship this year. I think the path is too difficult. I think there's too many series that are like this where it's like they're going to be lucky to win it. But for now, I'm going to go with this.
And by the way, we're not like Paul Allen for the Vikings. We're not like super optimistic. Like we're picking the Wolves legitimately.
Yeah, no,
I
think there is a path to them winning, and this is, like I said, the odds reflect Denver's a huge favorite, but I think it's closer than what I think people have underrated the Wolves all year. Anybody that actually watches basketball, I think, believes that these Wolves team can be. They have another level. Their athleticism is off the charts, and typically playoff basketball favors more physical teams. The Wolves have the ability to be more physical, and I just think they'll ratchet it up. If the refs
they need to set the tone. They need to set the tone with physical defense right off the game one.
And they need to play like Lou Dort and Caruso, where it's like they can't call everything.
That's true. Yeah, that's a really good point.
If they play like, if they try and play a non-physical brand and they don't bring it physically on defense, then I do think Denver will win. But as of now, I will do that as I go through more podcasts. I'm sure my view will change about 3 different times in this series.
Right.
But for now, it's that. So with that, we'll move on. Let's jump into what series in the West do you want to talk about next?
Let's go.
This one shouldn't take long.
No.
Lakers are dead, I think. I just don't see LeBron. At this point, at this stage, I don't see how they have enough ball handlers to break apart Houston's defense. I do think they have Houston's defense. I mean, I think the Lakers have a better chance against Houston than they would have against the Wolves because the Wolves have no one they could target defensively where LeBron can try and gain advantages. There was Shepard and Sengun are both pretty bad defensively, but I just don't think they have enough ball handlers. They don't. I mean, Luka and Austin Reeves were their 2 primary ball handlers pretty much every game. LeBron
Smart and Kennard are going to be them now.
Yeah, LeBron had kind of taken on this, role of the defensive kind of anchor for him.
Draymond a little bit.
Yeah, he can't do everything offensively and then still be productive defensively.
What they need to do is they need to pressure the hell out of LeBron, do a full court thing, make him tired as hell, because they don't have any options. Like Rui is going to be their second best offensive option, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably true. I mean, Marcus Smart is a decent defensive guard, but again, I don't think he's capable of necessarily covering Kevin Durant effectively.
Too short.
And they don't have anybody that can stop Sengun in the paint.
I mean, yeah, they're going to throw Ayton at him and Rui and whoever else. Vanderbilt. I don't even know how much Vanderbilt's playing or whatever, but
yeah. I mean, they might have to play him. I don't know if they can play Jackson Hayes because, I mean, Rudy was absolutely crushing Jackson Hayes and obviously last year. And Sengun is a much better offensive weapon than Rudy. But DeAndre Ayton, I mean, I don't expect much from him. He was effective with Luka, but Luka just creates such a great advantage for his bigs, so we
saw that in the series against the Mavs in the Western Conference.
I think the Lakers, I think even with Luka and Austin Reeves, I didn't see them going far in the playoffs. But, I mean, with Houston, they have enough shooters, Amen Thompson is going to get to the hoop. Sengun's going to get his stuff in the paint. KD's going to get open threes. I don't love Houston. I think if they do move on, I think they maybe can win one game against Oklahoma City.
Yeah, Rockets also are incredible at offensive rebounding. I think they've grabbed like 40-something% of misses. So
Yeah.
the key for the Lakers is really to be boxing out, making
Yeah.
sure to grab defensive rebounds. The whole problem is though with LeBron, like you said, is he's going to have to be the do-it-all player at 41 years old. Where prior he was the Draymond type distributor, rebounder, disruptor, transition scorer. Now he has to be the do-it-all player again. It's not going to work well. It's hard for me to honestly see them win a game. There's some people who are saying because Luka went to Europe or whatever to get some work done. His hamstring, was it? Yeah, hamstring.
Yeah. Grade 2, which is 4 to 6 weeks.
So some people are saying that there's a small chance he might be able to come back at some point in the series if the Lakers were to steal one of the first couple, but we'll see. I don't see it happening.
Well,
maybe.
even if he does with hamstrings, there's such a
yeah.
They have so many setbacks with him. Look at what happened with Aaron Gordon playing through it last year in Game 7. I think that set him back so far this year by trying to play that game.
Yeah, that's very true.
It was absolutely idiotic for him to play that game. But yeah, so I think I would take Houston in 5.
I have Rockets in 5 as well. The pace is going to be so slow for the series. Rockets are really slow. LeBron's probably going to have to put it down series. It's going to be a very boring series.
Yeah. I can't imagine sitting down and watching one of these games. Like, it just doesn't do much for me at this point.
From a Hollywood perspective, it's LeBron versus KD, but they're very old, and it's not. It's like an old when Mike Tyson was super old, and one of the boxing matches it's not that entertaining anymore.
Well, yeah, it's two old boxers, and then they're literally going to fight just the behemoth after it and get whoever wins the series. And I guess we can go because Oklahoma City will play whoever wins tonight between Phoenix and Golden State. I don't think that matters. I think Oklahoma City's probably going to go into the conference finals 8-0. Or good chance.
Yeah, true. I could see that. I think they'll have like one loss probably in those two series.
I don't know how Houston maybe, but I don't know. Houston's half court offense is not good. You need a decent half court offense if you want to make any chance of beating Oklahoma City. Houston's a terrible matchup for Oklahoma City. I'd maybe, if Golden State wins tonight, or Phoenix, I guess, I think they both play physical enough that maybe they could steal a game. Steph, if he goes crazy one game, you just don't know. I hope Golden State wins tonight just because I'd like to see if you get a close game in the fourth quarter with Steph Curry versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That would be actually a really fun watch, I think.
I think the Suns would get swept, and I think Golden State would win one.
Yeah, probably.
I would say one. I could see Curry just taking over a game at the end and hitting a couple clutch shots and getting one game in. But
do you have a prediction for tonight's game then? Do you take Golden State?
Yeah, I would definitely take Golden State. A lot of it really just has to do with, I know the Suns are a deeper team, but I just see Curry having a really excellent game, and I think he's going to hit a couple shots in those last couple minutes that's going to seal it for them. I just have a hard time seeing Curry not getting into the playoffs. It's hard for me to see it. And plus, I don't like Dylan Brooks, so there's that.
No, and I don't like Devin Booker either.
I don't like Devin Booker either.
And I think it would be kind of hilarious that Golden State, who looked dead a month ago, sneaks into the playoffs through the 10 seed. All right, last one, San Antonio, Portland. I think Portland's actually better than people realize. I don't think they're going to win the series, but I think they could make it interesting.
Yeah, they have really excellent defenders, a lot of beefy guards and forwards that they can throw at the Spurs. They also have Klingon, which is a very good traditional center big who's a very good defender. He's not quite as good as Rudy, but he's up there. The problem is that Wemby absolutely eats traditional centers like that, so I'm not really sure if that's going to work.
Well, Klingon he does shoot threes.
He does shoot threes, yeah. I guess I'm more talking on defense. I don't really know how fast he is. So I guess I can't speak to that, but
so I think the hard part that Portland's going to struggle with is Denny Avdia's he likes to drive to the basket.
Excellent driver, very underrated.
He's really explosive, but again, Wemby makes that so difficult.
Well, they're going to have to get Wemby somehow out of the paint. How are they going to do that? I don't know.
Yeah, you got to have. Tough. You just have to have. You basically have to play complete half court where everybody's on the 3-point line, so Wemby can't really just sit there. But I don't know if Portland has enough good shooters to make 3-point shots consistently.
I don't think they do.
And I mean, Portland is one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the NBA. I don't think it's hard to do that against Wemby. He boxes out so well. I think, that's where Klingon is really good, is getting those offensive rebounds. I think Wemby can kind of neutralize that. I think Portland's ceiling is 2 wins in this series.
That's pretty high.
But I would lean Spurs in 5 or 6. I do think the Spurs have a little bit of a, obviously De'Aaron Fox or Harrison Barnes. They don't have a lot of playoff experience with their core. And I do think, Portland with Drew Holiday, obviously, being in Boston for so many years, I do think he's kind of a bulldog. They're going to play it. Portland just plays really hard. I think they're going to challenge them. Again, there's no way I think they can win this series. I just don't think the matchup is great. I think it's better for them than it would have been against Oklahoma City. But, yeah, I think I would lean Spurs and probably 5, I think I'd go.
Yeah, I have them at 5, too. They have, like we've already been talking about, they have physical, switchable guards and forwards. Kamara, Sharp, Holiday, Thibault. So they have some really good defensive players. And my guess is they're going to try to probably lean off of Castle and see if he can make some shots. And they're going to probably try to pack the paint to stop Wemby from driving down the lane, because Wemby is so dynamic when he drives to the hoop and you can't allow it. So I think a lot of it is going to be if Spurs can hit their open threes, because they're going to have a lot of open threes. And then on the other side, like you already talked about, they're going to try to get Denny to drive to the hoop, but they're going to have obviously the alien down there, 7'6", Wemby. And then so he's going to try to kick it out to guys, but they don't have the shooters to really make a lot of shots. So I have a lot more faith that the Spurs are going to be able to hit more shots than I do in the Blazers. I think it's going to be a real uphill battle. I'm picking the Spurs in 5, though.
Yeah, I think Portland maybe gets one night where they make enough shots where they can steal a game. Like you said, maybe 2 if they get it.
They call that a gentleman's sweep, right? A gentleman's sweep.
So yeah, it's just, I mean, it's hard to ever pick a sweep to me in the NBA playoffs. I just think it's, I mean, even we're talking about all these advantages, but even still, I mean, it's still a finicky game where if guys get hot, you can easily steal a game. So I guess to the East quick, I don't have a lot of notes, but I guess we can just break down where you think it's going to go.
Yeah,
it looks like, I mean, at this point, Orlando is going to beat Charlotte. They're up 56-29.
Which of course, I have notes picking the Hornets, but it is.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought about it early. It's one game, so it can go anyway, really.
Yeah.
So my guess is the Hornets are just not making any shots.
Nope, and I mean, that's kind of what you get with a team that's so dependent on offensive shooting. Against Detroit, I actually think Charlotte would have been interesting against Detroit.
I think they would have. Well, here's what I think. I thought about this earlier. Yeah, I did, and I think Charlotte would have won 2 games, and I think Orlando's going to win 1, and maybe 0. I think they might get swept, but I think Charlotte would have won 2 games.
Yeah, if you're Detroit, this is great news this game because Orlando does not have the shooting to. You have to be able to shoot from 3 to beat Detroit because they just shut you down in the paint. So I just think if I were gonna handicap that one, I would say I think they might sweep. I'll actually go they'll sweep Orlando because I just have
to go with the
faith
sweep. We're lockstep in a lot of these predictions. But I also think they're going to sweep. I also think they're going to sweep Orlando.
Toronto, Cleveland, where are you at on that one?
So Toronto and Cleveland. So Raptors swept all 3 this year. I was looking up some stats, but it's not relevant. There was no Harden. There was multiple players out.
Yeah, it was also like early in the year too.
Yep. Mitchell and Harden, I just think are going to be too much for the Raptors. I'm actually not a big Harden fan. He's very talented. I just don't like his attitude. I love Mitchell. Mitchell's really good, but Mitchell tends to get grinded down in the playoffs. And this is going to be a physical series. Obviously, Raptors are very big with Ingram, Barnes, Pirtle. They're going to be tough on Mobley, the Twin Towers. Who's the other big? Mobley and Jared Allen. It's going to be a very physical series, but I also think the Cavs are going to fairly easily win, but I think it's going to take 6 games.
I think this one goes 7. I think they're.
7, I could see that.
I think
Barnes is having a great year. Barnes is having
and I think he's good enough defensively to frustrate Mitchell. or Harden, if they're not both on the court. We've seen Harden have his meltdowns in the playoffs, although I think it's a little, I don't worry about it as much with Cleveland because he's not the number one option. That's typically his problem, is when he has to be the number one guy.
That's a good point.
So I do think the Cavs win in 7.
Sure.
And I just think part of it is Toronto just doesn't have the offensive firepower to consistently score enough to win these games. But I think that's a back and forth series. And then the 3-6 is
Knicks and Hawks.
Knicks and Hawks. I think the Knicks win that one pretty easily. I think it's like a 6-game series. I really like the Hawks. I think the Knicks are a great matchup for them. I think the Knicks are a pretty complete team. And I don't think the Hawks, you need to punish Cat defensively to beat the Knicks. And I don't think the Hawks really have that option to do.
Oh, I actually wrote this down. I got this stat from someone else. Cat has eaten them alive this year. He's averaging 29 points, 14 rebounds, and 63% shooting. They have no one to stop him.
Yeah. And then on defense, they can't target. They don't have a big that can target Cat. And, no. I mean, you can target Jalen Brunson, too, defensively. He's not great.
Dyson Daniels and Gabe Vincent are all excellent, very good defenders, especially Dyson Daniels and so they can throw him at Brunson. But Brunson's excellent, so he's still
and in the fourth quarter especially, I just trust Jalen Brunson to be able to score enough points. I would say Knicks in 6.
I have Knicks in 6 as well.
And then Boston and Philly, I don't think this one's particularly close. I think Boston is just way too offensively gifted for Philadelphia to keep up.
Maxey and Edgecombe are very good. Edgecombe's an excellent rookie. Maxey's a very good player. But minus Embiid, is there a chance Embiid could come back later in the series? Maybe with the appendicitis or whatever he had. I have Celtics in 5, though, overall here.
Yeah, I have Celtics in 5 also. So, I mean, I don't know. I think the first round, unfortunately, I think the Wolves and Nuggets is by far the best series, East or Western Conference. And then I would say Knicks and Hawks could be a fun one. And Cleveland and Toronto. But a lot of intrigue lost, I think. With a lot of, and I think maybe we just look back. First rounds are usually just, unfortunately, there's not a lot of great series. Last year we had Knicks Pistons, which was really good. But I think the second round has some potential heavyweight matchups outside of Oklahoma City and whoever they play. I think every other matchup is going to be a toss-up, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Eastern Conference Pistons Cavs. I think that's excellent.
Yeah, I'd take the Cavs over the Pistons. I think the Pistons.
I'm gonna have Pistons in 6 in that one. Well, and again, I'm getting far ahead. We might want to do another podcast for second round.
That's fair. I gotta watch teams play. Health. We saw last year how much health. Dame, Tatum, Halliburton all tore their Achilles in the playoffs last year. Obviously, you don't want that to happen, but there's going to be serious injuries that derail a team, and so that plays a big part. I still think Indiana maybe wins the championship last year if Halliburton doesn't tear his Achilles in that game. But again, that's and I don't think the Tatum one. I think they were losing that game anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered.
I agree.
So I think overall, I feel like we kind of covered everything we wanted to. Anything else you have?
No, I absolutely have loved your articles in Substack. I've been following them. I get email alerts when they come through. And this was a great first podcast, and I'm looking forward to more this year and next year.
Yeah, like I said, I'd be happy to have you back on here, and we'll talk soon.
All right, have a good one, man.